This is Big Coop with Bully Supplies.
This is Mike with East to West Kennels.
You're tuned in to Bully Girl Magazine.
Go cop the issue, it's hot. That's right. Hey, how's everything going? That's right, you're here live with Mike with East to West Kennels. We also have James Cooper with Bully Supplies, and we're here with Bully Girl Magazine at the Super Headquarters. Everybody's not allowed here, but we're giving you the exclusive interview. So pay attention, people. We got a lot to say. James?
It's going down, Bully World. They finally got me out here, got me on camera, on tape. You know, it's I'm not big on this, but I'm here. You know, we got a lot of positive stuff going down. You know, found out today Bully Girls got dogs. They got dogs, man. There's dogs out back. Even got a little Frenchie running around and stuff, man. But, you know, there's a lot of big things coming up in Bully World. Of course, we got ABKC Nationals coming up November 2nd, Meadowlands. It's going to be one of the biggest shows to hit the East Coast, especially the first time up here in the Northeast. We're going to be in New York, you know, doing a lot of positive things. So make sure you lock your booth in. Make sure you're at Nationals, and make sure you're there.
That's right, people. If you live in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, tri-state area, or you're within a 1,500-mile driving distance, I expect you to be there. There's a lot of positive things that's going on in the community. We want people to step up and come out to the shows and show support. There's a lot of things in the community that people need to pay attention to and get out there and do positive things. And we look forward to having everybody come out to Nationals and enjoy themselves. Kids under 12 are free, is that correct?
Yep, kids under 12 are free, and you know, there's gonna be a lot of good stuff for the kids, you know, but also Bully Life is coming. You know, we got to take it to the breeders, Bully Life, and of course, Bully Supplies will be in the building with all your favorite gear. But you know, it's time to start pushing a whole other positive movement and bringing more awareness to breeders. You know, the life of the dogs, where they go when they leave your homes, you know, where they could be and how you affect the life of the dogs. You know, I think a lot of people aren't really, they're not really grasping the whole picture and the big picture of the dogs. They're only thinking about breeding dogs and selling dogs, but they're not thinking of who they're selling the dogs to and where they're going to end up. And that's why we got Bully Life here. You know, we want to talk about the many different directions the dog can go and where they can end up and what their life can be. You know, from a show home to living in a kennel out back or living in a crate in someone's basement to, you know, a shelter, rescues, the pound, getting euthanized. You know, there's so many different roads in which a dog can travel, and that's our responsibility as breeders, you know, to make sure that that dog has a good life.
Well, I'm just curious. Why do you think some of this is going on? I'm just curious. I mean, I kind of have an idea why I think it's going down.
A lot of people, I think, they get caught in the lifestyle. You know, they see this whole community and they see this lifestyle thing going on, and they think, oh, this is cool. You know, I want to be a part of this. I want to buy a dog. I want to be popular, be famous, and they think it's something that it's not. You know, and it's and they get fed in this whole facade of things that they think are something that it's not, you know, and they want to be a part of it. But there's more to it than that. You know, the dogs are lives, you know, and they're animals, and they're bringing these dogs in the world and thinking they're just going to be popular or be famous or be somebody, and that's really not what it's all about, you know, and that's really not what the movement's all about. That's just what some people have.
So kind of what you're saying is sometimes people are, I would say, misguided, or they tend. Yeah, you think a lot of breeders have dropped the ball with contracts, for instance. They're not following up with people. They're not asking the questions they need to ask. You know, are they selling people a dream? They're having them believe that they can make thousands of dollars off of breeding on non-quality breeding dogs.
Yeah, what they're doing is they're not selling a quality dog. They're not selling a show dog. They're not even considering the fact that every dog that comes out of a litter is not show quality. It's not breed quality. And some are pet, you know, some don't even belong in nothing more than a pet home, you know, and they're not differentiating the difference between them. They're just selling every pick as a first pick and thinking that it's, you know, everyone's just going to come in and make big money, or they got a popular stud and that's just what it's all about. But it's not. You know, there's a lot more to it. And just because you buy a dog from some Facebook phenomenon doesn't mean that you have something real, and it doesn't mean that that dog's ever going to be anything or that it's ever going to capitalize for you. If you're not taking the time to really evaluate what you're doing and the type of dog you're buying and buying quality animals from quality breeders who are breeding show quality stock, then you're just taking a gamble. Plus, you need to make sure the dog you're buying is show quality. People are spending thousands of dollars on dogs that should never be bred.
You mean like dogs that have hip dysplasia, heart murmurs, cervical cancers, things like this?
Exactly. And people need to hold breeders responsible for these dogs. They need to have contracts. They need to have contracts that guarantee their genetics. If they bought a show quality dog, they need to have a contract that guarantees it's going to be show quality.
Now, also, with him saying show quality dog, that means you don't come out the day of, show your dog, never work with your dog, and then think it's not a show quality dog.
Yeah,
you need to put in your work or find a handler that can do it for you.
Yeah, just because you could have a show quality dog and it's not a show dog. And the dog requires training. It requires work to make a dog showable. It isn't necessarily just because it's show quality doesn't mean it's ready to be shown. It does take more work and dedication to bring it into ring quality, or to display it properly in the ring and have the dog trained properly. So there is more to it than just having a show quality pup, but all that comes afterwards. That's after you acquire the pup.
Also, I seem to see that a lot of people, there's a lot of great quality shows that are happening that actually people are hosting, and a lot of people find themselves too busy because they're at home on Facebook thrashing other people's dogs instead of actually seeing the dogs. You want to touch on that subject just a little bit, or I can touch on it, or we both can touch on it.
Well, I don't know. As far as all that stuff, people should stay out of negativity and stay off of it. But I mean, if someone's hosting a good, positive event, we should come out and support it. We should take the time to support those who are trying to do positive and do good in the breed, and do good by shows and host good events, quality events to where everyone want to be there. But as far as Facebook and all the Facebook drama, I don't really have time for none of that. I don't pay attention to it, and I think people should try to stay out of it.
I don't you think actually people could actually do something more positive within the community instead of going on Facebook and thrashing other people's dogs? Don't you think that they could actually go out
there may
and
be
like
dogs
rescue or help out and do something more interesting within the community?
Well, definitely our community needs to get more involved. We need to be more than just a problem. We need to be part of the solution. We need to, you're a breeder. And if you are a breeder in your local area, then people know of you as a breeder. And when people are looking for a dog, they may contact you. If you're on Facebook or other places, you don't have to, just promote your show quality dogs or just your breedings. You can also help with your local problems, your local rescues, your local shelters.
There's a lot of other things that are going on in this world, basically, that a lot of people are not aware of because they're too busy on social media sites. Instead of doing positivity, they're actually putting in negativity into multiple breeds. Not just saying the American Bully breed, Bulldog breed, any breed in general.
Yeah, the more popular our breed grows, the more dogs are in shelters, the more dogs are in rescues, the more of our dogs are being in places that we wouldn't prefer them to be. So if we can, as breeders, step up and not only push and promote what we have going on, but also support and push and promote the local rescues or adoptables or other dogs, then people will know that they can go to you for more than just some $5,000 dog. Me as a breeder, I want to be more than that. I want to be more than just some guy who peddles dogs for $5,000 and doesn't matter who buys it, as long as they got cash in a brown paper bag, I'm the man.
Well, hold on, but there are reputable breeders out there that do have high-end quality dogs that are not reaching the right homes because on Facebook, I'm going to use Facebook because it's a big social media network, and you have let's say a bunch of cheerleaders.
Well, that doesn't necessarily make them reputable.
Just
because because they have a cheerleader or somebody pushing them or promoting them doesn't mean they're a reputable breeder. Just because you see a dog have 5,000 hits on Facebook doesn't mean that it's a quality breeder, that breeder's doing anything positive for the breed. You know, that doesn't mean that they're doing quality breedings. It doesn't mean anything. If they're not taking the time and effort to work with their program, to breed proper dogs, to make sure they're not putting flaws and passing on flaws, to not breed dogs that are dysplasic and have other problems, then they're not a good breeder.
Like hip dysplasia, heart murmur, cervical cancer.
Yeah, all those type of dogs
genetic defects
should not be bred. You know, if a dog has bad joints or bad hips, I mean, sure, you can take it to the vet and you can have the hip replaced.
That's about $8,000 to $12,000 to $15,000 in case you people
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
some people, maybe they paid 15 grand for a dog who's dysplasic and they didn't hold the owner responsible, the person they bought it from, the breeder, you know, who should have returned their money, but they probably didn't have a contract because they didn't care enough to get one.
But I'm going to talk on the breeder side. A lot of times people don't understand. It's not, you know, people allow certain breeders to do certain things because they think the market, whatever the market says is the highest value dog or whoever is the most popular in demand, people are going to breed to. I think people have lost the vision in terms of what they wanted on their yard. You know, I remember there was a point where nobody actually ever studied out their dogs. There was in-house production, so you could guarantee the production that came out of your yard. It seems like nowadays anybody could just...
Well, there's a lot of fad breeders, and that's, I think, big part due to Facebook. They see a dog, they think it's a hot dog, and they think, oh, if I breed to this dog, then I'll get $5,000. But they're not looking at the quality of the dog. They're not looking at the quality of productions. They're not looking at anything. They're just saying, hey, I'll spend the money and I'll get the money, and then they're basically buying and selling a dream that's all wrong. It's all false.
So actually what they're doing is, in their mind, they're feeding to the person that they're going to be something that they're really not. Which, that's why I say people need to come out and go to a show. You know what? There's a lot of people out there that have children. They're divorced, okay? Saturday shows, Sunday shows are out there. Kids under 12 are free. If you have nieces and nephews, you know, if you go to the movie theaters, more or less, how much is it to go to a movie theater?
I don't know, $12.
Okay, $12
per kid.
Exactly.
$9, $15. Just who knows?
Exactly. So let's just give a rough estimate. If you take yourself and let's say your nieces and nephews, you take 3 of them to the movie theaters, it might be $60, $70. But you could actually go out to an ABKC show and maybe go to an event that's free or pay $10 or $20 to get in the building and still bring 5 children with you. And you can actually give them a hobby, something that they can learn about and make them responsible, teach them from a young age that there's positive things going on in the community. And it seems like I think a lot of people have lost the focus because they're selling themselves on a dream of the dollar.
Yeah, and that's what's bad, and that's what makes them bad breeders. You know, a lot of people that everyone thinks is good breeders, you know, what are they doing good for the breed? You know, I don't just look up to anyone and think, oh, man, this guy, he's the man. You know, he sells $5,000 dogs. You know, no, that don't impress me. That don't impress me at all. You know, it's what is he doing for the dogs? What is he doing for the breed? What is he doing to be positive? You know, what is he doing to help the breed? And what is he doing to make sure that he's selling quality pups? You know, if you're not even offering any type of guarantee or any type of contract on your dogs that guarantees anything to your buyers, then you're nothing more than a backyard breeder. You know, because you're not offering no guarantee. You're just taking people's money, and it doesn't matter what kind of dog they're getting.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think a puppy milling can actually be a person that's breeding, let's say, two litters a year?
No, I mean, I would call that more of a hobbyist, but...
Now, if they're breeding to dogs that they just know have flaws, or they know
that becomes a problem. Now, just because you're doing 1 or 2 breedings doesn't make you a good breeder.
Okay.
Maybe you don't overpopulate the breed.
Okay.
You know, but the bottom line is, you know, a good breeder builds a reputation.
Okay.
Builds a reputation built on quality dogs and producing quality dogs. When you think of breeding dogs, you should be thinking of the lifetime of the dog. You should be thinking that I want this dog. This dog has a 12 to 15 year lifespan, and I want this dog to live 12 to 15 years without costing a fortune in vet bills. That I want this person to not 5 years from now or 7 years from now be stuck at the vet with a dog that's breaking down because he wasn't bred properly, because the breeder didn't care how the dog was bred, and that's a problem. If you're going to sell a dog for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, then that dog should be a dog that has.
There's nothing wrong with selling a dog for 5, 10,
No,
15.
if you're breeding quality dogs, and if that's what you can get, and that's the reputation you've earned, then there's nothing wrong with it. Because as long as you are taking the time to find quality homes, and you are given a quality product and given a guaranteed product, and you want that dog to live its lifetime with the new owners. You want it to live the rest of its life without fear of breaking down, of vet bills, of hip dysplasia, of you name it, the million problems that can go wrong with these dogs. And you want them to live without that fear, and because that's their pet, that's their companion. You don't
And
want
to
this.
some people, it might actually be considered their child.
Yeah, well, a lot of people.
I know my dogs come first, and a lot of people have given me the wrath of the raw and say, how can you say your dogs come first? Very easily. My dogs cannot feed themselves. I have to go out and I have to go.
Yeah, you
take
work
my
with them
money
every day.
I got to take my money to go buy food to feed my dogs, to give them the proper exercise and nutrition that they need.
I mean, they're like a kid.
Exactly.
I mean, a dog lives in your house for 12, 15 years. How long was your kid living there? Until he's 18? I mean, you're in theory, but some earlier,
And I
some
know
later,
I know some in the 30, 40 years.
some are gone sooner.
Mother and father still.
But that's basically the life of a child in your house.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to think about. I mean, you don't want problems with your child. You want to have, a dog that can live with you his whole life and be good.
I want to say I think a lot of people should just slow back and look for a while and really start planning on doing quality breedings.
Yes.
I think a lot of people have stepped away from it and have actually just looked at devaluing the dogs, depreciating the dogs. Your dog looks good, my dog looks good. Let's go. Oh, this guy sells a dog for $3,000. I'm going to sell it for $1,000. That dog winds up from $1,000 to the next guy's hands for $500. The next thing you know, they run up in the wrong people's hands. And a lot of these dogs, where do they wind up going 9 out of 10 times? To a shelter.
Shelter or the pound. I mean, what happens when you got a dog and you have vet bills that you can't afford or that you're not willing to afford? Then what do? You put it down.
You mean like dogs that have hip dysplasia, heart murmur, and cervical cancer?
Yes, like those.
Okay. And it's sad to say, but it is going on right now. And a lot of people have never owned a dog more than 2 to 3 years, and they don't know some of the defects that these dogs have. And I think a lot of people have to educate themselves and put themselves in a better situation and slow down and make the proper decision. Don't just go off of a fad. Have a vision of what you would like a dog to be. A lot of people don't have that vision anymore. People are just going off of fads, and Facebook has really destroyed. If somebody doesn't like you, you can just block them, make it your own board. It's just like too many boards, and it's crazy. And a lot of people are just not respecting people anymore. And I think everybody needs to come back together and unite and come out and show support. Once you come out to an ABKC show or a show at that, I mean, you go to movie theaters and you pay $13 to go for 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
You could go to ABKC show and sit there all day long with your nieces and nephews and enjoy yourself for $10, $15, $20.
Yeah,
It's
but you can also
amazing.
see the real side of the breed. There's a lot of quality dogs at the shows, and there are some, dogs and breeders that come out who don't fit the standard or aren't showing their dogs, but they're not in the ring. They're not the ones winning. They're not the ones doing anything, and people need to pay attention to that. They need to pay attention to quality dogs and people who are actually putting in work to better their kennels and better their dogs and taking the time to identify their breed quality stock. And that's a big part of what showing's about. It's about identifying dogs that are breed quality. I mean, the general theory is that if a dog has not been deemed a champion or grand champion, then now all that does is say, yes, this dog fits the standard, and yes, it does not carry major genetic defects.
Okay.
That's what it's all about. Showing is about identifying breed quality stock. It doesn't mean that other dogs that aren't show quality shouldn't be bred if they add to the breed. If they can add to your kennel health-wise or structurally, because there are brood bitches and there are stud dogs, and they
might not
fix
fit
things.
They might not fit the criteria
Yeah.
of the standard of the breed, but that's what you
A
call
downside-
a breeding stock dog that might have to be used back into your program. There's nothing wrong with that.
Because part of breeding is, and with dogs is, if you're breeding for a look, which usually what happens with conformation dogs,
Okay.
is you get caught breeding for a look, and which fits the standard.
I'm glad that you said that because
And
right now, not to cut you off, but a lot of people seem to just be breeding for a look. People are actually not breeding anymore, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. I'm not here to knock you, but at the same time, where's the function of the dogs?
well, that's the problem. See, when you breed for a look, what happens is a lot of people get into line breeding and crossbreeding, or
And
breeding
outcrossing.
back into it, and they
Exactly.
need to outcross.
Yes.
Because when they get into line breeding too much or breeding back to the same stock too much in order to keep that look, then they start to compromise health. And that's when you need to outcross, and just because, that's when you got to go outside of your look, which people should breed for a certain look and a certain style, and that's part of conformation.
There's
But
nothing
the
wrong with that.
downside-
There's
no,
nothing wrong with breeding for a look. But I'm saying in terms of there should be functionality.
as long
to
as
the
it
dog.
fits the standard, yeah.
okay.
But there's got to be, there has to be functionality, and once you line breeder, you get too caught up in breeding for a specific look or a specific look of a certain line, then your blood, it gets to, you're not spread out. It's
It's watered down.
well, no, it needs to be watered down. It gets too thick.
too tight.
It's
It's
too
too
tight.
tight.
And then you get flaws, and that's when you get genetic flaws like
Yep.
heart murmurs and start getting into other problems. Is because you're not going outside and you're not introducing new blood into your program. And a lot of people need to do that.
Well, what do you think Bully Life is actually going to bring to the table for the community that we're working so hard and proudly to bring to the community very shortly?
Well, we're hoping to bridge a gap between breeders and the life of the dogs and show them all facets of the life of the dogs.
Why should we do that? I'm just
Because
I
I
want
think
to speak on the side of a breeder, somebody who's sitting here
Because-
watching this video who doesn't actually understand what we're trying to speak in reference to.
I think in our community that there is three sides. There is your bad breeders, there's your good breeders who really care about the dogs, and then there's the big majority, which is people who've been 5 years or less, aren't really very experienced, haven't found their way yet, or don't understand the lifetime commitment of the dogs. And
that's the big key. A lot of people do not understand the lifetime commitment because that dog is looking for you for its guidance. You're its mother, you're its father. They're looking for going from the food that you feed, the bedding, where they sleep. They're involved with your children's life. They don't know any better. You're their
Yeah.
God. They look at you
I mean,
as
from the
their
moment you
parent.
breed a dog and you bring these lives into the world, it's up to you to find quality homes for them where they will live out the rest of their lives. And if you don't do that, then you don't know where they're going to end up. You don't know what's going to happen to them or what the future holds. And I think that's, a lot of people, they're getting over their heads. They don't really know what they're doing. They're not putting in the proper time first. They're just trying to produce the next top dog, and they're not factoring in.
The funny part is that there probably never are because they're not spending the money to get that good caliper dog, that good quality. They're buying off of impulse. Impulse buyers are never good.
Or they're cheating.
Know what you want.
They want it so bad they're cheating, and it's like, trying to mix with a bulldog to try to get that look or try to mix with a Frenchie. I don't know. But, that's the problem too, Then now people are thinking that trend is okay just because some people want to cheat and want to do things and want to go a different direction with a look that doesn't fit the standard. They think it's okay, and it's not okay. And it's not a trend that people need to get into. And it definitely devalues and destroys the breed, because the breeds that they're breeding to have major flaws of their own, and then they're bringing those flaws into the breed, and they're doing breedings.
Double ups.
The problem is they're not going to, if they wanted to do something to correct, they're not even going to quality. They're not taking a premium quality dog from this specimen with a premium quality dogs from this one and breed them together to correct and make this one better. No, they're taking an extreme version of this one with flaws and taking an extreme version of this one with flaws and trying to make the most extreme mess they can. And that's where we're having a failure, and that's part of the failure. And then they're trying to bring those back into this quality stock and trying to hang dogs and fake paper dogs. And
How do you know so much about this stuff? I'm curious. I think the people out
Well,
there
you
would
know
like
what?
to know.
Because if you could see it.
Okay.
You know, if you're a breeder, if you're a responsible breeder, if you're anyone who's been in dogs for any amount of time, you can see it. You can see it with your own eyes. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that this is not this breed. You know, if it looks like a different breed, it is. You know, if
It walks like a duck, quacks like a quack.
yeah, you
It
know,
is.
I mean, the
is a duck.
general rule of thumb is if you see it, if it's suspect, it's because it is. You know, it doesn't matter if the dog has papers or not. If it looks suspect, it is, and that's always been my rule. I never put anything in my yard that I thought looked out of the ordinary. You know, there was many dogs that I thought looked cool, but I didn't breed to them, and people thought they were cool.
Well, what the reason?
But in my opinion, I was tainting my blood if I bred to those dogs. In my opinion, I would no longer be able to say I had a purebred if I trusted some breeder who did not DNA his dogs, who did not even show his dogs, and I'm going to trust him and mix his blood into my blood. I don't think so. You know, I wasn't going to contaminate my blood with that, with anything like that, and I never did.
Second part question. So, you would say you were a breeder? Is that correct?
Of course, I was a breeder.
Just give a little people.
You know, I was a breeder, and
a little bit of insight on who you are and how you have this type of information. For the people that don't know, some people just know you as Bully Supplies. Some people just know you as James Cooper. You know, what kind of insight can you give to the people? How are you involved with the breed?
Well, of course, I was a breeder for many years, but I've been involved in the bully world for many, many years. Okay. I've seen it go many different directions, but I've been around long enough to be experienced and know how my dogs turned out, some of the bad homes they turned out in, the bad directions they went. I've seen many times dogs exposed within our community who cheated or lied, you know, and dogs that, you know, everyone argued and said were purebreds, but they weren't. And after a while, you see enough of it, and you know to stay away from things, and you know not to follow things. You know when you look at something and look suspect. Well, you know maybe its papers are real. Maybe no one's questioning it right now, but 3 years from now, maybe a different story. You know, and that's why you got to stay true to your program. That's why you got to stay true to whatever look it was that you bought into when you got into it, and that you fell in love with. You got to stick with it, because if you fell in love with that look, so are many other people. You know, it's like you don't have to change just because you see someone else changing with a different look or someone else getting.
So what you're saying is, if you're coming into the breed now, for instance, if somebody's looking into the American Bully breed as a whole, and they come in and they say, you know what, I want an American Bully. I want a dog like Big Bentley, which I own, who's also an extreme champion.
He plugged Big Bentley. That's it.
Yeah, but I'm very proud of my boy. I love him, you know, and you know. I'm not easily moved. There's a lot of dogs that are very nice out there, but I'm not easily moved by a lot of dogs that are out there.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of people are so quick to put up their dogs for sale and move in a different direction because they see people kind of making money. It's like nobody's original. If you would stay true to your program, true to yourself, people will see that and people will buy from you.
Yeah, the evolution. There is no more evolution of the American Bully. The evolution's been done. It was done the moment that a standard was written. You know, it was like we're not evolving. We're no longer trying to breed to make the bulliest dog. Or
are you sure about that?
Because some people shortest dog. And if you are, then you're part of the problem. Okay. Then you are not breeding to the standard, which means you no longer fit the breed type. You know, that's why a standard is there, to identify the look of a dog. I mean, all dogs are canines. They all come from different things and mixing of different things to make the breeds, right? Yeah, and what sets every breed type apart is their standard. You know, and if we are not breeding to the standard, then we're no longer breeding that breed. You know, if you breed away from the standard, then you are now no longer breeding a dog that fits that breed type, which means it's no longer an American Bully. You know, like for me, I mean, one of my favorite dogs in history has always been like King Kamali, Nemesis, a lot of the stuff like that. I mean, King Kamali is a beautiful specimen of the breed, you know, and that was a look I always looked for. And
Big
Bentley's
the look that I look for, which is also extreme.
Yeah, and that's you know the thing is, and if someone likes that kind of look, then they're gonna go for it. You know, you shouldn't keep changing. He's he's a champion, and he's a good looking boy. It's but you should stick to the look that brought you in, and if it's something else, I mean, I wouldn't change just because you see a Facebook fad changing or something else, because that's not the future of the breed.
I also want to talk about all the positive people that are out there in the bully community that are actually doing something very positive and are staying true to the breed and staying true to what brought them in there. We want to thank you for coming out and supporting the American Bully. We want people to come out more and come out to the venues. Bring your nieces and nephews and do something positive for the breed. I'm so animated because I want people to understand there's a lot of positive things that can come out by bringing children to be involved, part of the community. It gives something positive. It keeps them off the streets. It keeps them away from gangs. It keeps them looking forward to the next show,
Yeah, no, definitely got to keep the whole positive thing alive and keep everything, moving forward with the breed and with the American Bully. And I think it's
Your phone's ringing. You think you want to pick that up?
No, we're gonna ignore that. We're gonna ignore that right there.
But junior handlers is a great thing that the American Bully Kennel club has to offer, ABKC. In case a lot of people don't know,
that's a place where actually the kids get judged as handlers. They get asked questions on what their knowledge of the breed and their knowledge of showing, and it's a good way to get them involved and more active in showing and learning about the dogs and learning about conformation and how the dog should be. I mean, they're the future, so you definitely want to get your kids involved and get them understanding and knowing the positive side of the breed and the positive direction of and breeding properly, and how it leads to show wins and a better quality dog.
So, 2013 is almost over. Yeah. We have only a couple of big events coming up. One is Nationals, November 2nd at the Meadowlands, which is something epic. December 7th, 2013 is going to be my show as well, the December Winter Bully Bash Expo. And, there's a lot of other great events. I think people should go out and travel a little bit more and come out to the community and want to show support and love and understand that we're here for you. If you see somebody, you want to meet me, you want to talk to me, you want to talk a little about the breed, feel free. That's what we're here for. We have to embrace everybody in here. A lot of people seem to be pushing people to the side. They don't want to teach and educate. If you want to learn about the breed, get off of Facebook, come out to a show, speak to some of the judges.
Yeah.
Actually see what's going on within the community.
Definitely.
Become a part of the community.
Yeah,
definitely. You know what I mean? You don't have to own a dog to come out to a bully show. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't have to be a breeder. There's a lot of positive things that you can bring to the table.
Definitely don't be afraid to contact judges, ask about confirmation, ask about everything.
And that means don't call them at 3 or 4 in the morning either.
Yeah. But go to the right people, ask the right questions, take your time to educate yourself, think about the future, think about contracts, think about the breed, and think about Bully Girl Magazine, because we are about to wrap it up. And
that's right. And we want to thank you for having us out here and showing us a great time. And we want to thank all of you, the people out there that have been positive in the bully community and have been doing positive things. This is for you. Go out there, go get it. Bully Girl Magazine. You want to get yourself in it, feel free to contact LeVar, and he'll help you out with pricing and information on it. And we have a lot of things that are going to be coming to the table and be bringing it to light very shortly. But thank you, and have a nice night.
Thank you. Peace out.
Bye-bye.